Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Merlini's Mailbag, episode number 28. The topic of this one is Broodmama, Tranquils, and Ember/Earth Spirit. I'm going to answer a few questions since I got quite a few these past couple of weeks, and these are shorter answers but still pretty interesting questions. So question number 1, Broodmother, also known as Broodmama. How do I deal with Broodmother? Is it a matchup that's purely down to hero selection, or am I missing an obvious counter? So 6.79 buffed Broodmother so that her webs are larger, and you can also pass through usually impassable terrain over trees, up and down cliffs, etc. And she is extremely difficult to kill. I played her a couple of times, played against her, and just absolute pain in the ass to deal with. And this question was from Sam, so thanks, Sam. And the typical counters versus her are Axe, Slardar, and Sand King. Axe is very good in a one-on-one situation with Broodmother, although smart Broodmothers will skip Broodlings and just go Incapacitating Bite and Web. Slardar very good at dealing with her in the late game with max move speed, with sprint, with the minus armor so that he can man fight as well as bash, and amplify damage so that you can see her through her webs without the need for a gem or a dust or sentries. And Sand King, Cosmic Finale kind of crushes the spiderlings as well as a stun, so you can actually damage them so that you can kill them. Stun is good for escaping. Sandstorm pretty good at dodging broodlings as well as just being able to AoE them down and just keep yourself safe. And this is obviously before she gets really big and orchids you and has butterfly, so Slardar is not as effective. This is like first 10-30 minutes of the game. And there are some other like counters. I say counters because they're not really that good, but people think they're good. Bounty Hunter doesn't do enough burst to deal with the Broodmother. She can just run up and down, and Bounty Hunter can't actually follow her with track on just because he can't kill him in the impassable terrain. And Spectre can chase Brood down in impassable terrain, but Spectre doesn't do enough damage versus a Broodmother. And he also has very poor AoE in dealing with the Broodlings. Yeah, Spectral Dagger is very long cooldown, and it's like very small path. If Broodmother is smart and splits up the Broodlings, then you don't really do that much damage. Dispersion is nice too, but it's just not very effective dealing with Broodlings. It's great during team fights, but not good at farming. So these are the three main heroes that if I had to pick a Broodmother counter, I would pick. But also, I think the biggest thing that people are missing is the playstyle that you play versus a Broodmother. You either put in a one-on-one situation, and as long as the person's is sitting there, you stay there too. Like Axe or Sand King, you just sit there in lane and just farm up. You can usually farm up more because Axe and Sand King very good at just farming against her, and those Broodlings give a ton of experience and gold, so usually you'll end up way ahead. Slardar, as soon as you get your Blink Dagger, you can usually just like blink, amp, crush, and just kill a Broodmother. And you really do need to be able to kill her and have a lot of burst or chasing potential in order to kill a Broodmother, and you just need to put a lot of pressure on her constantly. But the main thing is that you need to push these Broodmother's lane, and if you push a Broodmother's lane, it leaves your team like a lot more wiggle room when it comes to defending T2s, T1s, or T3s. A Brood has to push like way further if their first T1 is down. Also, if Broodmother has to rotate a lane, she has to set up webs all over again, and generally you just push her down, just because she's also really weak at dealing with the bush. You have sentries, so she can't really come up. Broodlings are like good, but they're not good versus 5 people, and a lot of AoE is typically associated with push strats too. So in general, push her down. If not, pick one of these heroes, park versus them, and pick up a gem early if you have to. But there's not. I think that Broodmother should be nerfed. She's way too powerful in her current state. So question number 2 had to deal with the Tranquil Boots nerf. After the Tranquil nerf, I've had problems with regen in the early/mid game. What do you recommend? This is a question from Gregory as well as Brian. Both asked like for different heroes. I suppose one asked about like low HP, low regen heroes. Another one asked for like carries. So I'm just gonna go through the 3 main roles besides mid, because mid can just get a bottle crow, or just bottle runes. So first you have your tanks: Viper, Centaur, and Axe. And for these heroes, you can get a Ring of Health for Vanguard. You can get, or also Hood. You can get a Ring of Regen also for Hood, or a mech. Viper, a very good mech carrier. Centaur is decent too because he doesn't have that much armor and helps out your team a lot. Or you can get an Urn. Urn is very good if you're going to be involved in a lot. If you're farming, then not so much, but if you think that there's going to be a lot of action, a lot of kills, and no one else has an Urn, then by all means, you should get one on those heroes. And it puts heroes in the killing range for Axe too. Next, we have the carries. Anti-Mage, Void, Morphling, and Luna. Ring of Health is pretty good. Anti-Mage, you can farm Battle Fury. Void, you can get Vanguard if you really want to. I would suggest Battle Fury if you're going to get that with him. Or you can get Mask of Death and Mask of Madness, very common on Void. Morphling, you can build a Lincoln Sphere. Luna, you can go Helm of Dominator and Ancient stack, or just large Creep Camp stack. So there are options for these heroes too. For support, such as Rubik and Visage, you can go a casual Ring of Regen into a mech paired with Arcane Boots is very effective item selection on the support. You can go a Force Staff for later. You might not be able to afford these early, but it is an option. You can go casual Salve if you're cheaper. Many competitive players do this. You can also get an urn if no one else has one. You can go Tranquil Boots, even though they're nerfed, they're better on supports than anybody else. And last but not least, you can also get a bottle. And a lot of people think a bottle is like an only mid thing, but it provides a lot of regen for 600 gold, and it's reusable, and it can give you mana for heavy mana intensive heroes too. And some of these heroes are pretty darn good with runes. And last but not least, the third question is from Mroz. If it's regarding the new heroes, Ember Spirit and Earth Spirit. If these heroes are released in competitive, how will they affect the scene and what roles will they play? I played each of these heroes once, and I've seen them played a couple of times, so I'm not altogether too familiar with these heroes, especially considering I never played them in Dota 1. So this is just speculation on my part. Earth Spirit, I think, is a pretty good mid, but he's also a very, very good support. He's like an initiator and counter initiator. His magnetic grasp is just really good against Hex, against like Beastmaster or Bottom Arrow. It's like a Abaddon on crack because that range is just ridiculous compared to Abaddon Shield. And it pulls them out of position too. Like Abaddon Shield, you can get stunned like right after, and you're still in the same position. But that pull, really, really good. And he's pretty good initiator too with the silence and with his stun pullback with his magnetic grasp and rolling on people too. So you can also push people back with blink or just rolling if you can execute it well. So I think he's like decent with items, but he doesn't scale like incredibly well with items, which is why I wouldn't put him on the carry role. Not a good jungler. He's like okay as a roamer, but he really needs level 2 first, so not a hard roamer. I'd say mid or support, maybe a ganker if he has to. I think this hero will be used in competitive. Again, I think he's like a way better version of Abaddon, just like way more utility, very good defensively because he has more offense. Abaddon's like really passive. Earth Spirit, you can play passively or you can play very aggressively with him. And Ember Spirit, he's like a utility carry. He's not like a hard carry per se because he has a lot of spells that are good for just doing stuff. You can escape with his ultimate, you can initiate with his ultimate, you can lock down heroes with his first spell, you can do a lot of damage and be a tank with his third spell. So I think he's a utility carry. He doesn't scale as well with items as some heroes, and some players have done like damage item analysis on him. Battle Fury seems to work pretty well on him. Maelstrom, unfortunately, like the bounce from the lightning won't happen again until the first bounce is done, so there's that. Battle Fury works okay too, but again, not as good as like your Anti-Mage or your Faceless Void or anyone with crit for that matter. But I think he is very good as the backup carry, I suppose. Not a primary carry, at least not alone. Maybe like pair with a Shadow Fiend in the middle or something like that. Or yeah, he's also a good ganker. Unfortunately, he does need levels, so I think he can't really just like roam around at level 1 like a lot of gankers do. He really does need level 6 early to be able to bounce around in the fight and initiate with his Bolus spell. So again, I haven't seen too much of these heroes, but I think that Earth Spirit is way better than Ember Spirit. Ember Spirit is a little bit more limited in his skill set and his skill build and just what he can do in a team fight. And Earth Spirit is just a way better hero, I think. And I think that he might actually be played a lot if released to competitive. So thanks for watching, guys. This one was a little bit different. I took a medley of questions instead of elaborating on one. But if you have further questions, you can email me at mailbag@MerliniDota.com. I have a weekly show every Tuesday, and you can also subscribe to me at youtube.com/MerliniDota. Also, I recently released a new series called Mad Rares with Merlini. That is for betting and odds analysis on Dota 2 Lounge. A lot of people do engage in the rare betting activity. Makes competitive matches a lot more exciting. I release that actually every day instead of every week. So stay tuned for those if you like to bet your rares. And last but not least, you can tune on to my stream at twitch.tv/MerliniDota. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on next episode.